Well guys, it looks like it's finally happening. Anime will be a monopoly in America. So Sony will be buying Crunchyroll, or so it seems so far. The deal could fall through, but it looks like it's happening. Of course, you know that Sony already has Funimation and Aniplex. AT&T was looking to sell Crunchyroll, and of course Sony would want that, because then they would have practically all of the anime that's being localized in America. Now, I assume that they're not going to keep up Crunchyroll and Funimation separate. They're probably just going to combine them into one streaming service. And some people might see that as a good thing, seeing as how, oh, well, less money to spend on both. But there's a chain of bad things that come along with that. Of course, if they're combining two different studios, there's going to be a lot of people losing their jobs over at Crunchyroll. Even more so, I think it's assumed that they're just going to move it to the Funimation site and axe the Crunchyroll site. And Funimation's site is, it's not super good. I mean, there are a lot of people who say that Crunchyroll's site is a lot easier to work with than Funimation's site, so it kind of seems like you're downgrading. And then, of course, there's the question about the Crunchyroll originals and what they had going on with Webtoon. They were taking some Webtoons and making animes out of that. I assume that the Webtoon deals will come along with it, but who knows if we're gonna get that infamous High Guardian Spice, that trailer that just dropped out of nowhere and then vanished. I mean, really, if Crunchyroll hasn't released it by now, maybe they're just going to put it in the vault and just never show it. It definitely didn't get good reception from the trailer alone, so maybe they just gave up on it after that. Anyway, let's get into this article a little bit. As reported in August, AT&T is looking to sell Crunchyroll as part of a larger strategy to sell valuable assets to bring down its $151 billion debt load, much of which was acquired through the acquisition of Time Warner, since renamed to Warner Media in 2018. If the deal is completed, Sony would gain Crunchyroll's 70 million members around the world and catalog of more than 1,000 titles, while simultaneously intensifying global competition for content among companies like Netflix and Hulu. The acquisition would also strengthen Sony's position as a giant within the anime industry, as the company currently owns both Funimation and Aniplex. So definitely by owning Crunchyroll, they now have a much bigger power role in the anime industry. Is that a good thing? I don't think so. I won't pretend like Crunchyroll was a saint that was free of all criticism, but it's nice to have some competition. The idea that companies owning companies was probably not what capitalism was supposed to do. The only real checks and balances that we have control of on companies is that if we don't like what this company is doing, we can go to another company, because there's always competition that rises in a free market. However, if someone buys out all the competition and becomes a monopoly, then you just kind of have to put up with them, because there's nowhere else you can go to. And one of the primary things that Sony has a bad track record of is their censorship and localization of their anime, which is a huge problem among the anime community, who desperately wants their show to say the same when it comes over to the States. Now, I don't think that Sony is gonna take all your anime and boom, change it all at once to be censored, but it does happen gradually. We hear many stories of Funimation throwing in their own mistranslated lines into the anime. We hear about Sony censoring games that they're localizing in America. There's definitely a lot to criticize, and if you can't go to anyone else when they do this, then it looks like a lot of people will have to sail the seas. So I don't particularly see it as a good thing that Sony is trying to get a monopoly on anime. I always appreciate competition, despite the fact that everyone's trying to do the streaming wars, and the streaming wars are annoying. Everyone is well aware that no family is going to pay for multiple streaming services. They're going to pick one or two, but I still prefer the competition as opposed to all on one service, but you have no more control of what you're really paying for. Even more, we already knew that Funimation was being featured on production committees in Japan to not only change the anime that gets sent over here, but now go directly to the source to change it before it even comes out. And you have to wonder if those will be expanding, and if our precious anime will now become corporate-run bland material. But of course, those are all worst case scenarios. Definitely let me know what you think down below in the comments section about Sony buying Crunchyroll. Like I said, it's not completely official yet, but it looks like it's gonna happen. If you have predictions on how the two are gonna combine, any and all thoughts, leave them down below, and remember to like the video, subscribe if you'd like to see more content from me, and I will see you next time, guys. Bye!
Program restart.